Boba Fett's Throne Room, one of the most disliked LEGO sets of 2022, along with another very controversial disliked LEGO set, Obi-Wan vs. Darth Vader. These two sets are ones that I kind of agreed with what everyone else was saying. Oh, they're overpriced, they don't look that great, it's just kind of eh. And then I got both of them. You see, I've made a video in the past talking about the Obi-Wan vs. Darth Vader LEGO set on my old channel, so it's a little bit outdated. Maybe I'll do a new one about it. But today is all about the Boba Fett's Throne Room, because you see, just the other day, I posted a video talking about how I got even more LEGO sets for a really good deal, and the two LEGO sets that I got were Boba Fett's Throne Room and the Trash Compactor Diorama, which both of those are very good deals. I got those for. Here's a little fun fact for you before we fully dive into like the whole discussion of the set itself. I want to compare it a little bit to the old like Jabba's Palace set, which came out 10 years prior in 2012. Big gap there, and I will say there is one big downside that people really were not a fan of, and I agreed with, which is the top of the palace itself isn't the circular round top part, it's just mainly kind of flat, which is really strange, but I think they did it because like it represented too closely to like some religious building, and then people got upset about that, even though it's its own thing. And it's like I don't know the whole story about it, but I think that's what I heard. That's the reason for why it's just kind of like a flat roof, which kind of a downside, and that's what I was thinking at first. But then once I was actually building it, I'm like, okay, the top of this building actually looks surprisingly good. It has like some cool like great pieces, and I like the way that it's just built overall. I think it looks like pretty nice for it being like a flat top. Although it's not the full round part up to the top and it's mainly flat, it still looks pretty good overall. I just wanted to get that part out of the way right now. Next thing I want to say is the price. Okay, the price of the Boba Fett's Throne Room here is $100 retail. Okay, that's the original retail price. Somehow I got it for $40. If you want to know how, go check out my last video on it. But 40 bucks I got it for. But I'm keeping in mind the original price was $100, which I will say that's a bit much. But if you compare it to the retail price of the Jabba's Palace back in 2012, it's shockingly like cheaper. Like you see, the Jabba's Palace back in 2012 cost $120, and I believe they have around the same piece count. This build here is a little bit more small, it's a little bit more condensed, and it doesn't come with Jabba, of course. And I will say that the minifigure selection for the original Jabba's Palace is like way better, way more iconic characters that are just way cooler overall. Like Han Solo and Carbonite, Jabba, I believe Slave Leia, and I'm trying to think of some others, but those are just the main ones. Those are some of like peak characters right there. Let's be real here. Those are pretty sweet. But with that being said, the character selection and the amount of minifigures that you get for the Boba's Throne Room is shockingly good. You get 7 minifigures, and a few of them are like iconic, really cool minifigures, such as the Gamorrean Guard, Bib Fortuna, Boba Fett, albeit like an updated version. And then you also get just some other cool, really interesting looking like alien type of characters, like the lady with the pink hair and like the squid face looking guy, and just a really cool looking like bounty hunter type of person. And then of course it also comes with Fennec Shand, but you know, she's not like as recognizable, and she actually doesn't have her helmet. She has a cool like hairpiece though, which I thought was cool, but kind of feel like she should have her helmet too, let's be real. It's really cool. The set is able to open up, and like you can either have it like facing like all one direction, or you can kind of like close it in a little bit, kind of give it that more like ambiance type of feel, like enclosed, like a nice little cozy little setting. I personally like it open more, and you know, overall I think the set actually looks really good. Like I was shocked by like how much detail, especially like in the main throne room type of area, how much detail was actually there. I also love the fact that there's only like 6 stickers in this entire set, which is amazing because I hate putting stickers on stuff, and I think it looks, they actually had like a lot for this set. The pillar at like the top part, it looks really good with the details from the stickers, so I can't complain there. And then, of course, let's talk about the side builds a little bit. We got the entrance with the cool, like, eye droid that, you know, checks out whoever is coming in before they let him in. I don't know the exact name of it, but that's really cool. That can stick out, like, make it look like it's, like, looking around. And it can also, like, lift up that door so anyone can walk through. And then on the other side, you have, like, a little, like, the Mos Eisley Cantina type of, like, sitting area, which I thought is really cool. Like, overall, like, those two, like, little side builds, really cool. I will say my biggest downside with this entire set, which is, depending on how you think of it, maybe a downside, maybe not a downside, it really comes back around to the fact that the set's called Boba Fett's Throne Room, but then you also get the 2 extra pieces that aren't a part of the throne room necessarily. And personally, while I think that the side builds are really nice, I think this set would have been even better if it was like $20 less, like $80 retail, and it was just the throne room, because I think the throne room is so good and I just love the way that it looks. And what's actually really cool, which I tested out, is it basically fits perfectly as a diorama.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
I am currently, like, I started working on the trash compactor build, and I have, like, the very base of it built, and I'm like, wait a second, what if I just, like, sat the throne room on top of that, and it fit perfectly? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you could so easily modify that to be a diorama type of set. And I think, like, honestly, that's where it shines. I have all the minifigures basically displayed just in the throne room except for one, and it just looks so good. And then you even have, like, Bib Fortuna, like, on the little grate that falls down into the, like, the trapdoor that falls down into the Rancor pit, which they should definitely, like, do a remake of that and, like, update it. I think that'd be really cool. But man, if you just, like, take the trapdoor away and you just set the entire foundation on the foundation of the diorama set, it fits perfectly, and it's actually so cool. I think that's where it really shines, when you just have, like, all the minifigures, or most of them, like, in the middle throne room area. I think it just looks so good, and that's personally how I love to display it. I'm gonna have the side builds, like, connected to that, but I'm really tempted to, like, modify it into a diorama, because it just feels like a diorama. It feels like it should have been a diorama, but I'm honestly super happy that it's not a diorama, because if it was a diorama, you'd get 2, maybe 3 minifigures for the same price, and you wouldn't have gotten the side builds. So $100, basically, like, think of the Death Star throne room. That's basically this, but you get a bunch of minifigures with it. You get 7 minifigs, which look really nice. A lot of them are unique to the set, and you get really nice side builds. Overall, it just looks really cool. And also, the whole shaping of the throne room looks really nice and can also open up, and you can see more detail and different stuff in there. It just overall is such a cool looking set. And Boba Fett's throne room is honestly, like, I think it's surprisingly good. Like, I was not expecting it to be, like, this fun to build, this cool, and this good looking of a set from, like, the pictures and just, like, what I've heard about it and stuff like that. But then I built it and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I don't think it's worth $100. I think that's overpriced, but, like, if you would have been able to get this on a sale, it's now retired, maybe you can still get it, like, $80 or cheaper. That's, like, I think $80 is, like, a fair, like, base retail price is what it should have been, but, you know, Lego's always more expensive. But yeah, that really wraps up about the main portion of what I've been thinking about this set. It looks shockingly good. I am shocked by how cool and how much I like this Lego set, given the fact that I've heard so much hate about it, saying, like, how bad it was and it's overpriced and it doesn't look great, all that stuff. And then I've built it and taken a look at it. I'm like, this is really cool. It's like one of my new, like, favorite sets that I have, honestly. Like, I just love the feel of the throne room. And honestly, later this year, when Jabba's sail barge, the UCS sail barge, is supposedly coming out, you know, rumored to come out, I think if you really wanted to, you could just take, like, the throne part off, modify, like, a few pieces, and you could put Jabba in there. And I think that could be really cool as well. For the price I got this set at, 10 out of 10, because $40, that is insane. You can't beat that. But taking the retail price into account here, I think a fair score for it would genuinely be, since it is a little bit overpriced and the side builds aren't really that necessary, I would say probably a 7.5. I think if it was just the throne room and they just lowered the price a little bit, maybe $80 instead of the $100, they just did the throne room, kept all the minifigures in there. Maybe one less would be understandable, like the squid guy or the bounty hunter looking dude, because, you know, there's not enough space really. But really, the main throne room looks really cool, and I think it's just a really nice looking like display piece, and I'm very happy I bought it. If you're able to find it for a sale, even though it's retired, I'd highly recommend picking it up. I'd give it like a 7.5, 8. I don't know if I can really decide there. I'd say if you were buying it retail, like 7.5. If you were buying it at a sale, I give it an 8 because it's just really cool. And if you got it for like the price I got it for, it's like a 10. Like, you can't beat that price. But just the set itself and how I view it, what I think about it, I think it's really cool, way better than people say. And yeah, the Boba Fett's throne room is surprisingly good.